Hey everyone, welcome back to 996 The Howl. Today we're looking at the mid-season report for the Utah Hockey Club prospects. I'll link the quarter season report for the Utah Hockey Club prospects below in the description. We don't have Iginla among others on this list. He suffered a season-ending long injury, so his points stayed the same from the last report. Along with Tanner Lutke, he also had a season-ending long injury in the NCAA. Anton Thornton, a goalie I love in the rookie tournaments for the Coyotes. He also played for Utah in their inaugural prospect tournament. He's 0-8-3 for a win-loss record since the last video, so I left them off. Another goaltender, Carson Moser. He only had 2 periods played at the quarter season report. Now he's up to 4 games played, so not a lot of data there, along with defenseman Matthew Morden, Adam Zlinka, and defenseman Cal Thomas. Let's start in the Western Hockey League with Justin Kipkie. I'm really high on this guy. Drafted in the 5th round, but he's progressing so well. He just got the franchise record for goals by a defenseman overall for his team, the Victoria Royals. He's almost a point per game at 50 points in 51 games played. A defenseman, big defenseman, 6'3". There's so many big defensemen in the Utah Hockey Club organization. Lamoureux, obviously, Maximilian Zuber, Dmitry Simashev, we'll talk about later. Then you add Lavoie, Kipkie, and Skahan. Lavoie, Kipkie, Skahan. They're all well above 6'2", 6'3", so we got some giants on the back end, and I'm loving Kipkie. Wears the captain patch for his team, the Victoria Royals, and he's 2 points away from matching his career high in points in 16 less games played. I've been so high on Kipkie, so keep an eye on him. We might see him with the Roadrunners next season, but he hasn't signed his contract yet with Utah. Then we go to Terrell Goldsmith, who has signed an entry-level contract with Utah. So I expect to see him with the Roadrunners next season. He just tied his career high in points in 19 less games played. The point of these videos is to see progression and improvement. That's what you want to see. When you see prospects improving year after year, or in the middle of a season as well, that's great stuff to see. 3 goals, 12 assists, 15 points in 47 games played. He is a bruiser, a gooner on the back end. It seems like he's working on his production this season since he's matched his career high in almost 20 less games played. He wears the A for his team. Then we go to another defenseman in the Western Hockey League, VT Vasanen, 3rd round pick, so a pretty high pedigree there. 1 goal, 14 assists, 15 points in 46 games played. He only had 10 points in 50 games played in Finland last year. This is his first season in North America, so great to see him adjusting to North American ice. He played for Finland in the World Junior Championships. Then we go to the Ontario Hockey League, where first rounder Cole Baudouin, the second prospect after Iginla, I think Utah fans are really hype about, which you should be. He's just above a point per game, 38 points in 37 games played. Last year, he had a .93 points per game, so a slight little improvement. He wears the alternate captain patch for his team, the Barrie Colts, and he played for Canada at the World Junior Tournament. So great stuff by Cole Baudouin. And then we got the 2 teammates in Sault Ste. Marie. Both of them have signed contracts with Utah. Noel Nord started the season with the Roadrunners, but they decided to send him down to juniors. So both of them are point per game players. It's great that they're both producing at a high clip. Hopefully they're friends, knowing that they're drafted by the same team. Obviously, they went to the prospect camp and training camp with Utah. So just an added bonus for these young guys. Not only are you drafted by the NHL, but you get to play with a sort of friend in the organization in junior, and you get to progress with each other and go step by step in your progression in the National Hockey League. So that must be a great feeling for these 2 guys, Owen Allard and Noel Nord. Then we go to Quebec Maritime Junior Hockey League. We got 6'5" centerman, yes, 6'5" centerman, and Gabe Smith, 32 points in 42 games played. He had 23 points in 54 games played. So he's increased and eclipsed his point totals from last year. And then we go to Thomas Lavoie, third in the Quebec League in defenseman scoring. I'm high on this guy too. Every time I do research or hear his name, he's doing great things, and he's improving every time I look at his stats. So just like Kipkie, I'm high on this one as well. Thomas Lavoie, 11 goals, 34 assists, 45 points in 46 games played. He's a 6'4" defenseman. Keep an eye on him as well. Now we'll go to the NCAA, and we'll start with our highest goaltending prospect, Michael Hrabal, drafted in the second round. Look at these goalie numbers, .924 save percentage, a .247 goals against average. I scratch my head why the win-loss record is not as good or don't reflect his great goalie numbers. Maybe the team in front of him is just dropping the ball, but look at this support their team has in goal. I would have thought for sure that would be a 20-win record, but his team maybe not as strong as Hrabal. He's 6'6". So to go along with those giant defensemen, you got a giant goaltender as well. He's always rated as one of the top goalie prospects in the whole league by mainstream outlets whenever they rank goalie prospects. So he should join the Roadrunners next season, maybe. He still hasn't signed a contract, obviously, but to get him in the system with the Roadrunners and see from there, maybe he could help out the Roadrunners now that, Villalta's having a step back season. Stauber's doing all right, but to have a high quality goalie prospect to play in the American Hockey League, it's been a while since this organization has had that. Next, we'll go to Castagna. We'll go back to Skahan later, but Castagna, centerman, third round pick. I was pretty high on him last season, but this season he's taken a step back. Just not sure what's going on with him. He had 25 points in 35 games played in his first year in the NCAA. Now in his second year in the NCAA, that point per game clip has dropped. Only 11 points in 23 games played. We don't have many center prospects. Right now, it's pretty much Cole Baudouin is our best center prospect. Gabe Smith, Castagna, Hradic, who had a great World Juniors with Czechia. It's pretty flimsy, pretty slim pickings, the center pipeline for Utah. I expect this upcoming draft they focus on centermen, and maybe in free agency, maybe in a trade, they get a centerman for the Utah Hockey Club, because there's not much to get excited about outside of what we have now, and Cooley, Hayden, McBain, and then not sure who you throw out there. Cooley, McBain, Hayden, and not sure who else you put there, either Kerfoot or Stenlin. We'll see if any of them stay long-term with Utah. But yeah, it's unfortunate that a center prospect has taken a step back. You never really want to see that. So hopefully something's positive is going on with him. Maybe he's focusing more on the defensive side of the puck and the coaches really don't need him to provide offense. There's always things like that you miss when you're just having a peripheral look at prospects. And we'll go to defenseman Skahan, drafted in the second round. He has 5 points in 22 games played. I've read blurbs about him. They love his skating. They love his toughness around the net. He's 6'4". He's playing on the number one team, Boston College. So obviously maybe that's why his point totals are a bit low. He's not playing as much. Maybe his ice time isn't there. It is his first year in the NCAA, and he's got 2 points in his past 11 games played. So obviously the points aren't there, but to his first year in the NCAA, playing on a high quality team, maybe next season as those players move on to other leagues in their career, Skahan gets more minutes and is relied upon more than he currently is. Then we'll go to the KHL, the Russian league, which should be wrapping up in just over a month. Their season ends at the end of March and they go in playoffs, but there's rumors, some high quality rumors, that Dmitry Simashev, Daniel Boot, and Ilya Fedotov as well, who used to be on the unlisted board, but now he's coming back. They're all rumored to join the Utah Hockey Club organization at the end of this season. So we might see all three of them with Tucson next year. Maybe Simashev, I think, is the one that could make the jump immediately onto Utah. So keep an eye on that as well. Simashev, he averages 2 more minutes on ice than last season. With the KHL, with young prospects, what you're looking for is, are they playing a lot? Are their coaches trusting them? That's basically what you want to hear and see, not so much the points if they're not high quality offensive young guns, because those KHL teams, they favor veterans, they favor players who are going to put the puck in the net. But to see Simashev playing 2 more minutes than last year, it's great to see. And his shots on goal has also decreased. It used to be it decreased. It was 1 shot per game last season. Now it's at 0.6 shots per game this season. So maybe concentrating a lot on the defense side of the puck, but 16.5 minutes per game for Simashev, for a young player in the Russian league. That's great. That's a great statistic to concentrate and focus on, that he's playing a lot. His coaches trust him, even though he's a young player. Daniel Boot, he's also playing a lot more. He's playing about 2.5 minutes more than last season, and he's got 24 points in 47 games played this season. He only had 21 points in 55 games played last season, so a nice progression for Boot. Then we go to Vadim Moroz. His contract on the Russian website, KHL website, it shows his contract ends at the end of 2026. I'm not sure how trustworthy that is, but because I haven't heard him being rumored like those other 3 players in the Russian league, he might stay 1 more season in the KHL. But whenever I see him, he's putting up a lot of points, 30 points in 52 games played. Fedotov, like I said, he was barely getting any points or goals previous seasons. Last season, he had 0 points in 16 games played. Now, finally, at least he's producing 10 points in 28 games played. He's a 2nd rounder, so that's really high draft pedigree. I've been so low on him and disappointed and underwhelming. So hopefully the move to North America for Tucson, Bill Armstrong, John Ferguson, anyone put their hands on him. He's a big body guy, a winger, so maybe he could produce and maybe take a little bit of a while than other prospects, but just help our system somehow. Maybe he's a great Tucson player or great American Hockey League affiliate player for Utah in the future, so that at least he's helping out in other ways, maybe if it's not Utah. Then we go to Finland. Samu Bao, he had 2 points in 43 games played last season. This season, he's past that, but still 8 points in 32 games played. A centerman drafted in the 6th round. I don't have much high expectations for Samu Bao. Next, we go to Sweden, where we still own the rights for Victor Soderstrom, even though I don't think he'll ever play for Utah or the Roadrunners again. I think he could be a pretty good trade piece for other teams. I think of a team like the Pittsburgh Penguins, who's trying to rebuild on the fly, get younger on the back end. Like, they could go to Bill Armstrong and be like, hey, we'll give you a 2nd or 3rd round pick for Soderstrom. He's not doing much. I know he's a 1st round pick, but I mean, that's a free draft pick for a player who's kind of soured on your organization. So maybe he could be a trade piece at the trade deadline coming up in the next 2 weeks. He's got 31 points in 42 games played. That's pretty good numbers for a D-man for Soderstrom. We'll see how much longer he stays in the organization. Then we go to Gregor Byber, a really young player playing in the highest Swedish league. That's a very tall order and a rare thing to see. The highest level of the Sweden Hockey League is the SHL, and you really don't see prospects play in the SHL right away, right after their draft, unless they're like amazing and have a high pedigree. So to see a guy like Gregor Byber, a defenseman, 3 points in 41 games, but just the fact that he's playing in Sweden in the SHL as an 18-year-old, that speaks volumes to me. So I'm excited to see his progression moving forward. Then we had Ludvig Lofton, just a great name. Again, drafted in the 6th round, defenseman, 16 points, 35 games played in the junior leagues of Sweden. Melker Thielen, I mean, look at this contrast. Look at his win-loss ratio, 15 wins, 5 losses, compared to Hrabal, 14 and 10, but his goalie numbers are worse. They're not bad, like they're good numbers, but in comparison to Hrabal, like worse goalie numbers by a long shot, yet his winning ratio is so much better. So it's not, a goalie can't win and do everything. You need to have a good team in front of you. Then we go to Korhonen, another goaltender. He played in Tucson like 3 seasons ago. Then he went to Finland. Now he's in Sweden. So it's getting a bit long in the tooth that he's been in the organization. Not really sure how he's going to progress as a prospect for Utah. But currently, I mean, that's a pretty rough win-loss ratio. But he's still playing a lot of games. I guess his coach really likes him. 14 wins, 24 losses. And his goalie numbers could be better. Leaves a lot to be desired. Then we go to the Czech League in Czechia. We got Hrabal, who had a great World Juniors for Czechia. That was really his coming out party for Utah Hockey Club fans and just, analysts and people watching hockey. They never really heard of him from Czechia. So now people have him on his radar. He wears the A for his team in Czechia. He had 10 points in 29 games played last season. Now he's at 11 points in 31 games played this season. That's a mistake. He had 1 point in 25 games played last season. This season, he's up to 11 points in 31 games played. Another center prospect. I liked what I saw in that World Junior tournament. I watched the bronze medal game, I believe it was, with Sweden, against Sweden, where they went into like the 14th round of the shootout. I liked what I saw from Hrabal. The coach trusted him. They played him on defensive faceoffs. He was pretty much that third line grinder that teams love to trust and throw out there. Reminded me a little bit of Alex Kerfoot. So excited to see his progression as well. Then Ales Czech, 2 points in 28 games played. His last name's Czech and he plays in Czechia. So that's it for me. These are the prospects for Utah. Hopefully we see, I'm pretty whelmed. I'm pretty okay with what's happening. There's a lot of progression for most of these guys. I guess maybe just Castagna is the only player really taking a step back. So I shouldn't say I'm just whelmed. I like what I'm seeing. I'm loving Lavoie. I'm loving Kipkie. So keep an eye on them. Baudouin, probably another season in the junior league next year. I don't expect him to come over just yet. It is disappointing that Iginla has been injured, a season-long hip injury. So excited to see how he comes back, how he trains, how he rehabs, and how he performs next season. For sure, he'll stay again in the Western Hockey League next season. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, spread the word. And as always, thank you for your support.